Let's hear your full name.
Leanne Frances Gorman, and I was born June 17th, 1968. I'm 23, and
Color of hair is
blonde, and a blue eye and a green eye, and it's October 1st, 1991.
Anything happening today unusual?
Yeah, well, it's not, it's getting to the point where it's not unusual anymore. But I'm going to Paris.
Right. Now, tell us why we're doing this interview today. Besides the fact that we do these just before we're leaving for the airport.
Well, the family history part or the other part?
This is for Leo.
Oh, this is for Mom's and Dad's wedding anniversary. Right. Leo and Peg's wedding anniversary, 25th.
Right. A little late. So
yeah.
Let's once again hear your full name and tell us how you got it.
My full name is Leanne Frances Gorman, and I was named after my father. I think it was because I used to spit up and burp and stuff when they first met me, and he's Leo Francis Gorman. And I guess I just reminded him of mom of him.
Now, if you could have had any name you wanted, what would it have been?
It wouldn't be Leanne Francis Gorman. I don't know what it would be, but it wouldn't be that.
Okay. And what's your address and phone number? Where do you live now?
Right now, I have no address. I have no phone number. I'm a nomad. No, my new address.
Where will you be living in Paris?
That's a good question. No, as far as I know right now, where I'm staying when I get there is 91 Rue de Teta, and that's in Emily Zola, Paris, France.
Okay. Now I'd like you to think back to the earliest thing you can remember.
The earliest thing I can remember way, way back. Mom's surprised at how far I can remember back. I remember realizing when you drew people that they had necks and bodies, not just arms and legs attached to the head. And I remember when I realized this. And I also remember when I realized that the olden days when Mom and Dad grew up weren't in black and white, because the pictures were in black and white. I assume they were. And I realized that the world was in color back in the olden days. But those are two things I remember.
Now, what's the first memory you have of your mother?
I remember when at Christmas she sat us down. I was probably about 4, and she said that she was going to start working again. But I remember her giving piano lessons when I was really little. People always come over and take piano lessons from her. But
what's your first memory of Leo?
Blowing smoke rings. And trying to stand under them, so it was a halo.
This was back when Leo smoked.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the most interesting thing you did yesterday? Oh, very big thing.
Yesterday, I packed probably 8 suitcases worth of stuff into 2 suitcases and 2 carry-on bags. Right. But that was pretty much my day yesterday.
And what else did you do?
I had my last day of work again.
Right. And where were you working?
At Nordstrom's.
And tell us how your performance was at Nordstrom's.
It was good.
Oh, come on.
And I have a big paycheck coming now.
She was number 1 or number 3 consistently. So and this was her second
not consistently,
tour at
Nordstrom's.
Yeah. One was just before her last trip to Paris, which was when?
Oh, 2 months ago? No, it was like 4 months ago, because I just got back about 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, what are your parents' names? Let's get this real formal.
Margaret Elizabeth, well, she was Margaret Elizabeth Althouse, and now Gorman, and Leo Francis Gorman.
And we call your mother?
Peggy.
Peggy. And what do they do for a living?
They're both teachers.
And are they rich? Is your family rich?
They're loaded. How do you think I can afford all these trips?
Okay.
No, they're not really rich. They're dirt poor. I was born into the wrong family.
They come from a hod hut in Georgia.
Hello.
Uh-oh, there's Cousin Matthew. Hello, Matthew. Oh, I forgot to ask you where you were born, Leanne.
In Auburn, New York.
And where were Leo and Peggy born?
Mom was born in Auburn, New York, and Dad was born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Good old CR. And do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have two.
And?
Michael Delancey Gorman and Elizabeth Margaret Gorman.
And they're how much older or younger than
Michael's about 10 months older, a little bit more than 10 months and some days, I don't know. And Beth is, I believe, 13 months younger.
And do you have any pets?
Pets are a sore subject, but yeah, we do have my family pet, which is continuing to live with my parents, Samantha. Foo, on the other hand, we're not quite sure about.
Crocodile?
Oh, no, they're both dogs. They're both brilliant dogs.
Okay.
Very smart.
And Samantha even has her own phone bill.
Yeah, we make person-to-person calls to Samantha. And if there's an emergency, we take the message for her.
Oh, yes. Okay. Tell us about your sister. Anything happening with your sister and you?
Yeah, she's going to meet me in Paris on Saturday, and I believe the whole purpose is to steal some clothes.
Oh.
There's a squirrel at my feet. Leave my coffee alone.
Goodness, he wants to get it on camera, I think. Okay. Are you going to school right now?
No, I'm all done. I graduated from the University of Dayton in Ohio.
When?
April of 1990, so about a year and a half ago.
Okay, and so you got which degree?
Bachelor of Science.
And let's see. What was your favorite subject in school?
Any class that was allowed to talk in was my favorite subject.
Talking was her favorite subject.
No, any class I was allowed to talk in.
Oh, okay. Well, Leanne,
I was never very interested in it, no.
what kind of grades did you get?
Average, B's and C's.
Uh-huh.
I didn't study.
Where did you go to high school?
Auburn High in Auburn, New York.
Is that where Beth and Michael went?
Yeah, my freshman year and Michael's freshman and sophomore year, we went to Bishop Ludden in Syracuse, but the commute was too far, so Mom and Dad pulled us out.
Okay. This is about military service. Are you going to join the armed forces when you are older?
Are you asking me if I am?
Or are you in the armed forces? When they see your luggage, they're going to know.
Or after Chris and I are together for two hours,
right.
It's going to be the armed forces.
Right. If there was a war, would you be willing to fight in it?
No. I'd be crying so hard they would not bother to send me.
Okay, this section is about other people. Would you say that you have a lot of friends, a few friends, or not very many friends?
Are you on now? Okay.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends. I have a few very, very good friends that I'm with most of the time or still keep in touch with that are living someplace else.
Tell us the names of some of the best friends.
Well, one of my best friends from college, Amy Woomer, just told me she's getting engaged this month, and I'll be in the wedding in a year, next October, in Pittsburgh. And then Misty Sable from home. And Susan Stasic from here, Seattle. And those are probably my 3 best friends.
Okay.
So.
Who is your best boyfriend right now?
My best boyfriend right now is this guy named Greg. No. No, it's Daniel Christopher Ashley, Chris.
And where is Chris living?
Chris right now is living in Paris.
And tell us about his linens and bedding and all that.
Well, Chris called when I called one day and getting ready to go. He told me to bring a few things like canned goods, and because he's living in a cave, you know. We've decided it's probably really a wine cellar. It has no windows, but he told me to bring bring a blanket because he has none. So I do have 2 blankets packed with me, with a lot of other things. But he told me to bring a blanket for him because he doesn't have one. Now it's getting kind of cold in Paris in October, and so I just assumed that all of his clothes are thrown on his bed, and he crawls into his clothes at night, and I questioned him on it, and he said yes. And his pillow is a dirty pair of pants.
What else did he tell you to bring?
Canned food, books, money.
Yeah.
That's about it. My sister.
Yeah, right. Who is he's going to employ as soon as she gets off the plane?
Yeah, she doesn't know, but she's going to be a singing waitress.
And we don't know what you're going to be yet.
No, I'm going to be selling hand-painted T-shirts and sweatshirts under the Eiffel Tower.
Right. Okay. What does it take to be popular with boys?
I can't say. Mom and Dad might see this. No, I'm kidding.
They will be seeing this.
I've never been overly popular with a boy because I've always had with the boys because I've always had boyfriends, so they don't bother much with me. But just the boyfriends do. I just think that being friends with them, because I've seen my friends try the other routines that they think might work, and I know they don't. I have evidence of them.
What about with girls? What makes you popular with girls?
What makes you popular with girls is being, half the time, being very phony, lie, catty, and dress well. Those aren't my friends.
Yeah.
My friends are a little more crazy. They don't really care about those things.
Oh, good. Okay. Is the best looking man that you know of?
My father.
Oh, terrific. Is the man or woman you most admire, and why?
The woman I most admire is my mother.
And why?
She puts up with my father. She's a college professor. She's a little off-center herself. She turned 50 this year, and she's beautiful. You'd never know it.
Yes.
And she's nice. I mean, she's a very, very, very nice person.
And you're proud of her.
Yeah, she can't tell a joke, though. That's her biggest problem.
Okay. Now, we talked about kind of a job do you want to have when you grow up? No, when you get back from Paris.
You mean I have to grow up?
No, I mean when you get back from Paris. So seriously, what's your idea of a dream job?
Something, I don't know. That's the problem. That's part of the reason I'm going to Paris. Maybe I'll figure it out. I want to do something creative and extremely different.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure what it's going to be, but someday the idea will come to mind.
Yes, right.
Be like a bright light.
How much money will you think you will make doing this, but you don't know what it is yet? Is it important to make a lot of money?
Yes, it is. I can't support my habits of traveling and all if I don't.
Right.
And I can't have 5 or 6 children if I don't.
Right. It will be important to marry someone that likes to travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you going to get married when you grow up?
Yes, I will when I grow up.
What would you say is the most important thing about choosing a husband?
He has lots of money. No, that he's funny and somewhat responsible when it comes down to it. Because somebody has to be. And we're waiting for Chris to grow up a little bit here. I think that I'll just know.
Yeah. Kindness, that would be
Yeah.
important.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. How many children are you going to have after you get married?
Oh, 5, 6.
Boys, girls?
Hopefully all girls.
Oh, all
They can kill
girls.
themselves over the clothing. I'll come out with 4, but...
What would you name a boy if you had one?
Well, if I married Chris, I'd name the boy Dayton because Mom hates it, but Chris and I met in Dayton, Ohio, so it'd be Dayton Ashley.
Right. And what if it's a girl?
I'd like to take my grandfather and my brother's middle name, Delancey.
Oh, yes. Neat.
And that's if I marry Chris or not.
Yeah, right. What about the other girls? What will you name the other 5
Oh
girls?
gosh, I'd probably like to name one after Mom and call her and have a Margaret, but call her Maggie.
Uh-huh.
And I would like to name a child Francis, but I'm afraid that if we went by Franny, they'd be called Fanny in school and it'd be torture.
Oh.
So I'm not going to be that terrible or mean. And I couldn't name a child Leo. Sorry, Dan. But maybe Lee. Maybe.
Okay. Most interesting place you have visited during the last 12 months?
Well, Hong Kong was very interesting, but I'd seen it all before, so that was that. I mean, I love Hong Kong, and it's really neat and all, but I had seen it before. But then I went to Paris. Well, actually, I went to the south of France to get a nanny job, and I decided I'd take my money and travel around Europe instead. And I went all over France and Switzerland and Germany and Belgium and Holland and England, and so there's been a lot of interesting places.
Great. What has been your greatest adventure thus far? Any kind, not just in the last
My
year.
greatest adventure thus far has to be my drive across country with my sister.
Oh, yes, tell us about that.
I had to find a place to live when I graduated from college, and I'd pretty much driven all over the East Coast trying to decide where I was going to go. And then I had picked out an apartment in Washington, D.C., put my car in the paper for sale because I was going to use the Metro, and packed up Mom's and Dad's truck, and we were driving down. I was going to go to interviews that day and move into the apartment. And the night before, Mom and Dad said, "Why don't you move to Seattle? You like it out there, and the crime rate isn't so high." So me, and as I was in tears, Beth said, "Just wake me in the morning and let me know where I'm going." And we did. We woke her at 7 in the morning, and we unpacked my parents' truck and packed up my little Rabbit, which you couldn't see out of the back
What color
of.
and make was that?
It was an '84 maroon Rabbit, and
Okay.
we couldn't see out the back of it. We had everything from a microwave to
Coffee table.
coffee
mirrors.
table in it, yeah. And Beth and I got in the car and drove across country without being able to see out of the back of the truck, out of the back of the car, without even checking the car first.
Well, how many days did this take?
Well, the first day we went to Dayton, Ohio, and we visited Chris, and that was the 4th of July, or then we left on the 4th of July, and Beth had insisted on leaving. I wanted to stay and play at school, but she had insisted on leaving, so we went to Aunt Joanne's in Cedar Rapids, Iowa that day, and then from there on it took us 4 more days, and only one little minor accident.
Which was where?
It was in Grand not Grand Rapids. What's the one? Grand Rapids and shoot, I can't remember. I was so tired. I've been driving for 22 hours straight. Beth drove 4 hours of the whole trip. It was between, I think, Spokane and here. And I was really tired and I backed into a car, but I did leave a note. I never heard from the people though.
Now, that little rabbit, it had another celebrated
Yeah.
incident.
A right after I moved here, hit and run by a cab driver, yellow cab. And I sued him in small claims court this June. It took almost a year.
You did your own investigation.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, Aunt Gwenny and I went and videotaped where the paint on his car was on my car and the yellow paint on my car and the maroon paint on his car. We went and we found the car and the license plate down at the lot where they parked the yellow cabs.
And a policeman caught us in the act.
Yeah, we had him on video.
Then we got him to testify for us if it came to that.
Yeah, but it didn't. And I won.
Okay, now we're going to talk about your interests. What is your favorite TV show?
I don't really think I have one anymore.
You don't have time to watch TV?
Yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of TV, so I don't really have a favorite one.
Okay. What's the best movie you've ever seen?
Oh, gosh. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's better when you grow up.
Yeah. What is your favorite song, singer, or musical group?
I don't have a favorite song. Every time a song comes on, I always say, that's my favorite song, but I don't really think I have a favorite song.
Oh, okay.
So, but I like a lot.
Can you name one you really like, though? Just so we get the...
James Taylor, Bette Midler, all different, The Grateful Dead.
Okay. Oh, what is... Now, remember, this is a child's interview kit. What is your favorite toy?
Well, it's not my car because I sold that.
Right.
A plane ticket or two.
Or how about fabric paints?
Oh yeah, I like to paint a lot.
Yeah.
I like to paint sweatshirts.
And she paints beautiful ones. We ought to videotape some.
Since I washed it, but this sweatshirt was my favorite sweatshirt and it had spots all over it, so I painted it.
Right. Now tell us, what are you bringing any of these to Paris?
Yes, I'm bringing a whole
inventory.
suitcase full of them. Yes, my whole stock of them, and I'm going to make Chris sell them under the Eiffel Tower so he can get arrested, not me. He can call his mom and dad for bail. I won't be calling you mom and dad.
And then the money will go to a worthy cause, right?
Yes, food.
And one other thing.
Another thing.
You know, the way you're going to get home.
Oh, in a plane ticket home.
Yes.
Because I did buy one way again.
Yes, it's one way.
Actually, I think I'll slip into this. I'm freezing.
Oh, that's a good idea. Here, let me move your... See, Leanne modeling our sweatshirt here. How good is your French, by the way?
I can't think of it. Again.
Can you say anything in French?
Je voudrais ver un de bière.
And that means what?
I'd like a beer.
Oh, what about where is the bathroom?
Au sein la toilette.
Oh.
The only problem is I don't know what where they tell me after. They'll tell me in French where the bathroom is, so it doesn't help me much.
Yeah, right.
No, but I have studied French on my own for the last couple months, and I've gotten pretty far.
Would you like to tell us how you got to the bathroom in the Louvre?
The security guard brought me. No, I went to the bathroom many times in the Louvre. I told Mom she always thought I knew every bathroom between New York and Florida because we drove down there every Easter, and I told her now I know every bathroom in the Louvre.
Right.
And it's a humongous place. But I couldn't understand where everybody kept telling me where it was. It sounded like it was right around the corner, so finally the security guard brought me, and it was down 2 flights on the elevator and around 1,000,000 corners, and I almost couldn't find my way back to the people I was with.
And it was an urgent run.
Yes, it was urgent.
Yes.
We were in France and we were drinking wine.
Okay. What is your favorite sport?
I don't have a favorite sport. I never liked sports much. I used to do gymnastics when I was little. I even took figure skating for a while, but I couldn't do either one anymore. I like to watch them both, though.
Yeah. And so you're not on any sports teams. What
No.
is your favorite thing to eat?
Spaghetti.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And second, burritos.
Oh. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Talk.
What spare time?
Yeah,
Talk.
talk. Hang around with my friends. Paint sweatshirts, t-shirts.
Right. Okay. What do you like to do the most? Travel, probably.
Yeah, I love to travel.
Right.
I love it.
She doesn't like airplanes, but
I'm scared to death to fly.
so we're not going to have to worry about losing you to a stewardess job or anything.
No, actually I did apply for one with Continental Airlines. I didn't know how I would do it if I got the job.
Did they ask you?
No, they never did ask, which I'm kind of surprised, but I think they saw it in my eyes.
Your knees knocking.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see now. Who is the President of the United States right now, just for the record?
I'm not really sure. Now, George Bush is.
How good a job is he doing?
I don't really think he's doing a very good job. He tells people a lot of good things, I think, a lot of the time, but I don't think he's doing a very good job. We've been in war and recession and near depression, and we haven't been doing really well.
Okay, that's a good answer. Now, what are your political views? Would you say that you're a liberal or conservative?
Gosh, it depends on, it all depends on, you know, what they're talking of. Like, I don't believe in abortion, but I believe that drugs should be legalized. I mean, it's like, it all depends. And I don't have a whole lot of time to read the paper, especially the last few months. And I haven't been able to understand the papers in the last few months. A lot of them haven't been in English.
They've been in French.
Yeah, so a lot of them haven't been in English, so I haven't kept up too much on current events. Probably almost the last year. I haven't had much time to.
Okay, you sound like you're sort of a middle of the roader at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you're more a Republican or a Democrat?
A Democrat.
Why do you
Although I'd
feel
like to be a Democrat with a lot of money. But,
Why do you feel that way?
well, first of all, Mom and Dad would probably have my head if I said anything different. In sixth grade.
Well, that's politics.
No, in sixth, yeah. In sixth grade, we had to choose if we were Republicans or Democrats in the school election, and Mom and Dad made me for 6th and 7th grade choose to be a Democrat. They made me. They said, "You're not going to go to school and be a Republican." And now Uncle Gene is not too far away, and Brad isn't home,
right.
so I can say this.
Yeah. We'll have to be careful who we give
Yeah.
this to, however. Okay, hold on just a minute. Leanne, what would you say are the biggest problems facing the world right now in 1991?
Well, I'll tell you, looking at it selfishly, my age group is having a lot of difficulties. There's not any jobs for people graduating from college. Everybody has to go to graduate school now. There's no jobs for us, so it makes it really difficult. I mean, I had a job at Nordstrom's and all, but to go out and find, as I call it, a real job is takes about 2 years. I have friends that it's taken them 2 years to find a job.
Is that why you think sometimes about being, an entrepreneur yourself?
Yeah, and also I knew from the time I was 16 and I had my first job at Wegmans grocery store that I had to be my own boss because I've never gotten along with a boss yet. And Nordstrom's is like,
that's important to know.
Yeah.
Because that ought to affect your planning.
Well, I've known it since I was 16, so now I just have to figure out what I'm going to do exactly.
Yeah, right. What do you think should be done about these problems? affecting your generation, you know?
Well, if I knew what to do, then probably I'd know my field would be politics. I have no idea what they should do about it, but they have to do something because people are going to start starving.
Yeah.
You know.
What has been your greatest accomplishment so far?
My greatest accomplishment so far has been getting myself back from Europe last time. No, I mean, most people would say their degree and all, but getting my degree wasn't a big deal, and it was just assumed that, you know, that was the next step after high school. It was almost like you had to be there. So that didn't seem to me like a big accomplishment. I'm still waiting for my biggest yet.
But what makes you feel good about looking back on things you've done?
My friends, the good friends that I have, the places I've been, the memories I have.
You must also feel a little good about your jobs. You've done well in your jobs.
Yeah, I did well at Nordstrom's. In most jobs that I've done, I've tried to do well, but it's not always appreciated. At Nordstrom's it was.
Right. What has been your greatest disappointment?
My greatest disappointment is that I'm 23 and I still haven't made $1 million. I'm not often disappointed. I was recently disappointed by a friend, but I try to find the good end of all bad things. So,
If you could think of one single thing that you did that you're proud of, what would come to mind? One single thing.
I guess I am proud of my degree.
Anything with your family or anything that you've done that you're really proud
And
of?
Beth and I made it out of the house still alive.
Yeah.
I didn't kill my little sister, while growing up.
Right.
That was an accomplishment too. Ask Mom and Dad. Gosh, you know, I haven't lived at home for so many years. I can't really think of anything. I mean,
Weren't you proud of that apartment that you decorated?
yeah, my apartment after I moved out here.
All white apartment.
Yeah, I found an apartment in a couple weeks and had it all decorated and redid the whole thing. It was really awful when we first saw it. When you came to see it, and Gwenny, it was just horrendous. And then a couple weeks later, it was like what Brad called it, the Hamptons.
Oh, it was like a garden apartment.
Yeah, it was really neat.
She did this in 1 week's time. She got a job, she got the apartment, and decorated it in 1 week's time. What is the most important thing in your life right now?
The most important thing is keeping my head above water, financially, and mostly financially. That's a big one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sitting at home saving money, but I figured I have to do that in a few years. So that's probably the most important thing. And
have you considered lottery tickets?
Actually, I was mad that I didn't get not get the bouquet and went out and got you all lottery tickets.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I thought of that after.
Okay, what is your biggest problem right now?
My biggest problem,
If you had to name one problem, what would it be?
Chris. My biggest problem is my boyfriend, who probably in the next couple months we'll find out if he's gonna be around for the next 50 or 60 years or not. He is not the most responsible guy in the world.
Well, he does have some.
He is extremely entertaining and very talented, and if he works with it the right way, then he'll turn out okay.
Right. If you could do anything you wanted to do right now, what would you do?
I'd do exactly what I'm doing.
Good.
Exactly what I'm doing.
What would you do if you had all the money in the world?
Probably the same thing too, just live a little bit nicer when I got there.
And you could take extra bags.
Yeah, I could. And I could probably take first class.
And you could take a cab instead of metro
Yeah.
from the Orly Airport or wherever it is to, and even the apartment. I mean,
Yeah.
Tell us a little more about that apartment, by the way. It's how many rooms?
It's, from what I can tell, what I can gather so far, it is 2 big rooms that they use as bedrooms, and then a big closet that is big enough for a bedroom. And there's no windows in the whole place.
Is
and
there a kitchen?
I'm assuming. I never asked that question. Maybe I should have.
There must be a can opener.
Yeah,
They
if he wanted me to bring
canned
canned food. Well, you know, when we were in London, we didn't have a can opener.
Oh.
And we ate a lot of Chef Boyardee raviolis.
Oh.
We used to take a knife and open.
Well, now, how many people are living in this place?
Right now, there's 2 Americans, a girl who's going to school over there, and a guy that Chris met who's just living over there working. And there's 2 English people who are staying there. 2 or 3, I'm not really sure on the number.
And then you and Beth
And
will
then,
join them.
yes.
It will be really cozy.
And I've invited Aunt Gwenny and Uncle Gene
Yes,
to
and
come
all
and
of our
told them
11
they had a
grandchildren.
place. Yes, they have a place to stay.
In the afternoons from 1 to 2. When does that work?
Your sleeping hours are.
Okay, the next question is about your overall level of happiness with your life. Right now, would you say that you are very happy, pretty happy, just okay, or not very happy?
Extremely happy.
Oh, good.
Extremely happy. And I have been. I love, people are, you know, everybody didn't want to graduate from college because the free vacation was over. And that's true, you know. I don't call home for money all the time anymore, and you know, I have to work and whatnot occasionally, but I think that it's so much better when you're out of school. And I love it. I've had a great time out of school.
If you could change one thing about yourself or your life, what would it be?
The only thing I don't know that I'd really change anything. The only thing I would change, I don't know that I could change, and that is finances.
Yeah, the economic
But you know, that's the
side.
only stress in my life,
Yeah.
you know, at this point in time.
Right,
I think that would be one of the only things I changed.
right.
I'm happy with everything else.
Beliefs and values. What are the most important things you've learned about life thus far?
That you have to have a good sense of humor.
Yes.
Because there are just horrendous things that happen sometimes, and they seem horrendous at the time if you can turn around and laugh at them.
Uh-huh.
You know, and you know, like you have your bad luck spells when everything that you could touch goes wrong, and it gets to be entertaining after a while. It's funny. But you look back, you know, like you say, 10 years from now, you look back at, you know, something stupid that happened now that you're all upset about, and it wasn't worth your time. So it wasn't the end of the world.
Now, still in this category, beliefs and values, what is the best thing a person can do? That doesn't mean working jobs or anything. It's just sort of a general thing about beliefs and values.
To be responsible for themselves, you know. What goes around comes around, and it always does. And I used to feel like if somebody did something to me, I had to go and get them back immediately and whatnot. But I've learned that what goes around comes around. I don't have to get them back at all. They'll take care of it themselves. So the best thing that a person can do is to realize that and think before they act.
What is the worst thing a person can do?
Lie. Hate a liar.
Yeah. These are apart from the major capital things like murder and so on.
Right.
Okay, later when your own children are the age that you are right now, they will watch this tape. What would you like to say to them?
Sorry if I'm yelling at you right now for being irresponsible, not putting your life together. But enjoy this age.
Yes, right. That's what you're trying to do.
Yes. And don't ask me for money to do it.
Yeah. Okay, that sort of answers this, but imagine that a kid your own age came up to you and asked for some advice about how to have a good life. What advice would you give him?
Well, I'd probably give them the same advice that I give my friends now who are stressing about, money all the time and finding a man and, whatever. I tell them, just to go do their own thing and to travel. They have a chance to do it now, and your outlook on things becomes a little different when you see different cultures, and you live a little bit of a hard life, out of a backpack and whatnot. You realize different things are important than you thought. Driving around in a brand new car with the great stereo isn't as important as, meeting new friends and going new places.
Leanne, later when you are the age that your parents are now, you will watch this tape. What message would you like to put on this tape for yourself when you are older?
Oh gosh. If I am overweight, please go on a diet. I want to look like my mother. I want to look like her when I'm that age. I still want to get compliments on my legs.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even get them now, but I know she does. Let's see. Gosh, I don't know.
I think one thing that you'll be happy about is you were never afraid to try,
Yeah.
the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
You've never ever had that problem.
No, not really. And if I do, I kind of just hold my breath and do it.
Yeah, right.
Jump in.
Right. All right. We're almost at the end of this interview. Is there anything you would like to add or say to complete things?
I hope everything from now on goes as well. Talk to me in a few months, actually, and life might not be some happy little bowl of cherries, but in the next few years, I'm sure I'll start having children and whatnot, and I hope when my children look back on this, think I was as good a parent as my parents were, and that's about it.
Is there any message now you want to close with for Leo and Peggy?
Is this going to be separated?
It could be.
Yeah. I wanted to say happy 25th anniversary. They have caught us. They know that the date is October 1st, 1991, and their 25th anniversary was June 11th.
We were working on it.
Yes, it was June 11th. It was their 25th anniversary, and I think somebody else wants to come and say happy anniversary. Okay. Let's see. I'm supposed to say something about your marriage, that I was there for almost the whole thing. Gosh, I remember your 8th wedding anniversary. But we were an odd family. At least I thought so at the time, and now I'm starting to feel better about life. I'm finding out that... What's wrong? I'm finding out that there are other strange family in this world. There's sitcoms like Roseanne now and Married with Children. It's making me feel more at home with life. No, Mom, you never look like Roseanne. Never quite that bad, but gosh, Mom used to send us to school. This was so embarrassing. I was the only, Michael and Beth and I were the only children. I don't know if they were traumatized by this, but Mom used to send us to school with tuna fish sandwiches on whole wheat bread, and it was so embarrassing. Everybody else had their white bread, and nobody else's locker smelled when they opened it. It was so embarrassing, and this is really difficult for a 4th grader. I used to sit with my sandwich underneath the table and pull pieces off of it and throw it in my mouth, hoping that nobody would see that it was brown bread, but everybody knew. They did give us 13 cents instead of 10 cents so we could get chocolate milk, and we didn't have the snacks in our lunch like everybody else, the Twinkies and whatnot, and that was really embarrassing, and it was hard to get over. I still managed to be friends with the fairly popular people and stuff, believably enough, but they all did make fun of me, and my mother was the only mother.
You were talking about the chocolate milk.
No, I was talking about Mom working.
Oh, yes, right.
And I was so embarrassed that my mother worked, even though her and Dad, we used to get home at like 2:45. She'd get home at 3, and Dad would get home at 4. And it was just that my parents' friends, their mothers did the vacuuming and cleaning the house, and we were responsible for doing that because my mom worked, and it was just embarrassing. Nobody's mother worked, you know, and then Mom and Dad never, or they were so strict with us. Until I was about 16, I was not allowed to do anything. Then when I turned 16, I was kind of given free rein. I guess they felt as if they taught me at that point, and they even let me hang around with Beth Winsky if I wanted to then. But they did everything opposite, you know. Now everybody eats everything off the whole wheat bread, and Mom and Dad have rice-a-roni.
They're eating white bread.
Yeah, no, they haven't gone that far as to eat white bread, but they do. My mom does make rice-a-roni fettuccine Alfredo every night. Real good for you. And everybody else's parents put the reins on them when they were 16 and let them run wild until then. And now everybody's mother works.
Yes. Right.
Everybody's mother works, and it's something to be proud of that my mother has a great career. And if she probably doesn't consider that a great career, but it is impressive. And I like to tell people now. And I think that all in all, you know, that gave me independence, and Mom pushed that in us, and she didn't baby us and coddle us when we were little. You know, it was kind of fend for yourself a lot. Mm-hmm. And the only one she does that babies and coddles is Dad. And look at where it's got him. Not too far. But and even eating those tuna fish sandwiches on whole wheat bread taught me to hang my head high, though my sandwich may have been low. So all in all, Mom and Dad, you were good parents. Right now I know you're nervous about Beth and I and thinking that we're never going to settle down, but someday you will have a lovely family with grandchildren, just like Gwenny. Come here, Bryce. Come here. Come here. Will you say hi to my parents on the video? Remember Uncle Goofball?
Come on.
Come here. Your grandnephews, and he's a doll. This is Bryce Covey. What's your middle name? Bryce, I know your middle name. What is it? Gwenny, what's his middle name? You don't. Bryce was so insulted that his own grandmother didn't know his name. He laughed. No, but we did decide it is Bryce Bradford, and if it isn't, it should be.
Yeah, right.
We like it.
Right. We know his little brother's full name.
Yes, his little brother's Ford Joseph Covey.
Right, Ford Joseph Covey.
But someday you will have some grandchildren like that, and we hopefully will not be moving in with you, Mom and Dad. Yeah, Dayton and Delancey. Right. And Maggie and the whole bunch of them. We won't move in with you for any...
Delancey's first name will be Crossing.
Yes, that will be it's after Gwenny's favorite movie, right?
Right.
Yeah. But I know that Dad was a pain in the neck about getting the vows done, Mom. Sorry. One more thing, I'm sure you're used to it after 25 years. But eventually you'll get this tape. It'll probably be about Christmas time, and we'll have an idea where I am now and where Beth is.
Right. Well, maybe you can deliver it in person.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It'll just depend on whether you're waiting tables and singing Frere Jacques or back here with Jingle Bells.
But anyways, happy anniversary. I'm on my way to the airport in a couple minutes. This time going to Paris.
Leo will know how to relate to that. Joanne, we did her interview.
Yes, we also ended up doing Joanne's video an hour before she left, hers and Tommy's. So it's becoming tradition. Anybody who goes to the airport around here has to have a video first. But I have an international flight to catch, so I have to be there even earlier than you guys.
Right.
But happy anniversary, and you guys were great parents, even though we told you weren't. That was only so we could go out that Friday night. I honestly was a good kid. I still am good. So you did an okay job, even with Michael and Beth. I'll never tell them that. But happy anniversary. I love you both. Oh, bonjour.
Great.